Hi everyone, it's NonnaGrace and I'm from Western New York. I hope you have something to entertain you with. This is another walk video. But I also got friend mail from Dream Big. I couldn't think of which way it went. Thank you.
Yep.
From Dream Big Productions Plush Bat Fan. He sent me a envelope, and in the envelope is a picture, and I'm not sure if he drew it or not, but it looks like somebody could have drawn it. It says, "Keep this coloring card for your of a Japanese fictional character as a souvenir." I think he might have drawn it.
He might have, yeah.
It's kind of neat. I will color it and put it in something. Well, let's go to that video. It's very long. I hope you're relaxed and got your feet up. So here we go. We're going to visit the old homestead. Well, we've made it to the deer sign. Now we shall continue on. It's amazing what a facelift on a house can do. This house used to be shingled with gray shingles, and it was always funny looking. It was where the house where Floyd used to sit in his car, and we thought he was dead one time when we were walking by. The kids knocked on the window and he woke up. He was just sleeping there. The foundation here used to have the frat house on it when the schools allowed frat houses. The ABK or AKT, I don't remember which one had this. But at the other house over there is where I used to have my twirling practices. It's not far from my house. The lady that lives here used to walk to my house. This is quite a distance for my walk classes. It's a long walk. It's almost a mile that she's walking. This fruit stand is owned by the people that used to buy my eggs. There's quite a bit here. They have pumpkins. Some are $2, they have hay bales for $7. These plants are pretty. They're $4. And these pumpkins are $6. These pumpkins are $2. And the pumpkins over here, I've never seen yellow pumpkins. I've seen white pumpkins and orange pumpkins before, but I've never seen yellow. This used to be the old ice cream place. My goodness, you can't even tell it was a building at one time. I think this was the ice cream place. It's either this or the garage next door. All I remember is the grass was starting to come up through the windows. It looks pretty sad. Abandoned and left. I don't know if anybody owns this land or not. Maybe the people next door do. I don't know. I was wrong about that other building. I think this is where the old ice cream place was. And you can see a window back there. I remember it used to look pretty clear at one time, and then the tree was growing out of the roof. I hear a dog barking over there too, and there's no leash law here, so I'm gonna move along. This garage used to be a church for a little while, so it must be nice inside if they had it as a church. But now it's a garage again. There's a house up in that clearing, or up in that area, even though it's woodsy looking, and I used to wonder, how do those people ever get to their house? Well, there's a side. They probably went up the side road to get to their house. But there is a house up there. See the house? I hope you can see it through this camera. Everything's grown in so much. It's gotten so woodsy. A lot of people say they walk a block. Well, if I want to walk a block, it's over 6 miles, or close to 6 miles if it's not. This would be the first road that I could go up and over and back down. This little house, the man that used to live here and the wife that used to live here used to camp with us. Now someone else owns it. He's passed away, and so has she. Where one of the teachers from our school lives. She's retired now. The lady that lives over here built that garage. She used to live in a trailer. and now they live in that garage. It's a nice size, and they've got it decorated well. She makes homemade soap. The people that bought this property have built a huge barn here, and the house there used to be a subsidy housing project, but they've changed the shape of it and rebuilt that also. This house too was a subsidy building house, and it was shaped a little different. They apparently own this house now, and they made it an upstairs. It used to be just a box looking house, and the one I showed you before that's long, that's a ranch house now, that used to be the same shape at one time. It's amazing the things you see when you're walking. I never knew this house had a swimming pool in the back, and I didn't know they had a camper. But this house has come a long ways. It used to be ugly, and it's gotten prettier with the siding, and they've decorated it up with a porch in the front and the back. Way better. I love the looks of these little Amish sheds. They look like they would be a nice little house to live in. This used to be a veal farm, and when they had the little calves, here, boy, you could smell it. It was really stinky. They don't have the veal anymore, but it was huge. Apparently the purple flowers grow a lot more places than I've realized. There's some down here, and I've been passing some along the way. There's an awful lot of traffic today, so I'm hoping I'm talking between the traffic and the noise doesn't bother. People here, I notice, have posted signs on the sticks like they're supposed to. Have you ever seen posted signs on telephone poles? They're not supposed to do that. Or trees, they're not supposed to do that either. They are supposed to erect a separate pole with a sign on it. This is where I bought my 24-inch bike. Most people sell 26-inch bikes, but I'm short, so I needed a 24-inch, and he happened to have one. He had gotten divorced, and his wife's bike was not being used, so he sold it. But it's a beautiful house inside. 40 years ago, I came down to this house to get little pumpkins for the nursery school, or the preschool. It was before they had preschool for everyone. It was paid. You had to pay to bring your child to a preschool. Only other daycare in the area, and this is in a different town. It's a beautiful place. When I was a brownie, I came to this house, and there used to be an old lady living here. Now there's a young fella living here. Well, he's my age. He's not really young anymore, but he's younger than she was. I remember the lady saying she didn't know boys sold Girl Scout cookies. Well, I was behind my brothers. They went in with me. To be a huge falls here, but the falls is no longer there, and the creek looks really low. The person that lives in this house now, I don't know who they are, but at the time Putneys lived here, and I remember the one little guy was probably 3 feet tall or less. He never grew very big. He was a small person. And then there was a blind man that lived in here, and he used to climb the stairs to go to his sister's, who used to be on the upper end of the hill, but now that sells tractors there. So it's changed a lot. We've made it to my hometown road. This is the road that I grew up on, and we were allowed to ride our bike finally to the end of the road, which is not far from our house, but it was far enough. This was the house in the hollow. You can see it better from up here. And the stairs used to be somewhere in this area. I don't know where they were, but they used to be here somewhere, because the blind person used to climb them and go across the street. And his sister used to live in a trailer up here behind these trees. But now they sell tractors and things like that, big machinery. There's no more trailer up there. Years ago, Grace Noble used to live in this house, and I used to go to her house after school sometimes, because the bus would go all the way back to the school, and this way I'd come here and call my mom, and she'd come and get me just up the road. And I also used to go to her house every Wednesday and do her hair. Her son lived in this house next door. It has changed a lot. It used to not look this way, but it's beautiful now. They've built a couple of barns. These barns used to not be here, but they filled in. There used to be a hill, and they filled in the land with fill and built these beautiful barns. Walking on a country road, and there's no traffic. Can you hear? There's no traffic. There never used to be speed limit signs on this road at all. People used to go very slow until they used it as a way to get from Route 5 or Route 20 to Route 5 or Route 5 to Route 20. Everywhere I'm seeing these red vines. I wonder if they're poison ivy. I have no idea what poison ivy looks like, but they're all over the place, and they've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 leaves to their little branches. Some of them do. Some have, let's see, do they all have 5? Yeah, they all have 5 leaves. So I wonder if it's poison ivy. The sumac trees are also turning over here. These are sumac, or sumac, however people say it. We used to say shoe. So maybe it's Sue. 2 houses. It's been handed over to different people at different times. Now there must be somebody new living here because it looks different again. There's the garage that they built. They built that house and the garage that's attached to it. This is a the family that does this building, they also did the building on my house and my barn. Same family built this house. It started out with 1 room, and it ended up with many rooms. What they did is they always left 1 bare wall with nothing on it, no windows, no doors, and then they would attach another room onto that area. So it's odd shaped, but it's a lovely house. They also built the garage that's next door. There used to be a house back here that was owned by Mr. Polizzi, and I remember him sitting outside, and I said, you know, Mr. Polizzi, I will cut your grass. His grass was as tall as these weeds. He kind of chuckled, gave me a quarter, and told me to move on. So that's exactly what I did. But his daughter lived in Buffalo, and one time she came by to wash his feet, and he ended up dying. So they think he caught cold or pneumonia, and he died. So that's the end of Mr. Polizzi. The house apparently burnt down because there's no house here now. I built the house back here, but I've never been at this house. I don't know who lives here. But it's hidden from all the trees, so you can't even tell there's a house except there's a driveway. When I was growing up, they didn't have these high things on the thruway. It just had the green railing that was there. And we used to stand at the railing, wave at the trucks. We used to walk up on this area here, and we used to wave at the trucks. And I remember when they were building this, my brothers brought my tricycle. My brothers brought my tricycle down, and I rode on the highway before cars rode on the highway, on the thruway. This is the thruway, the interstate thruway. I-90 it is. My cousin Johnny, when he came over, he actually threw a stone down and broke a windshield. That's probably why they put all these protective things on, so kids can't do that. Shortly after the thruway was open, Mr. Pucci couldn't find his little butch dog, and we saw it was down there. It had gone down into the thruway and gotten knocked off. We're almost to my house. I can't believe we walked all this distance. It's a good 3 miles to my house, to my old house. There's where Marky used to live. Land and holler to me to come on over. We used to yell back and forth. I'll show you the spot that I used to yell at. I used to stand here and yell, Marky, come on over. And he used to yell back whether he could or couldn't. I think the guy that owns it is standing there talking to the person in the Jeep. I'll find out when I get there. Our barn was falling down, and we had the wall reinforced once, but it must have calmed down all the way. Hey, Richard. It's funny how low the creek has gotten. There used to be up the creek this way, used to be Nabbott's Falls. The other side was Putney's Falls, and this side was Nabbott's Falls, and the water used to flow like crazy. It's not flowing like crazy now. It's very low. Another abandoned house. This is so sad. People leave their houses, and it goes to waste. I honestly don't know what kind of berry this is. If it was on a grapevine, I would say it was wild grapes, but I don't know what it is. Maybe somebody out there knows what kind of berry this is. My senior year in high school, I went to a class party at this house, and it was the first one and the last one I went to. I called my mom and said, "Could you come and get me?" And she said, "Have you eaten yet?" And I said, "No." So she said, "Eat first, then call me back." What it was is everybody was getting drunk, and I'm not a drinker. There's some kind of nut tree here with these nuts. These are yumma nuts. Almost home. There's the deer sign, and we're just about there. Back home. Boy, that was a long walk. I'll let you know how far it was. I'll look on my Fitbit and how many steps it was. Now 12:29, but I visited with Richard for a good 45 minutes. My Fitbit says I went 6.25 miles today. I made my 6 miles to supper. Hooray for me. I closed the front door, but I forgot the back door. It's open. It's just got the screen on the sliding glass. Anybody could break into our house, and they wouldn't have to break in. They just would have to just walk in if they wanted to. It was a really long walk. I've walked my 6 miles to supper, so I can have supper today.
Yep.
I haven't had breakfast or lunch, but I will have supper. There's going to be just 2 more days of walking because then the rain is supposed to come.
And the cold too.
And the cold.
Colder
It's supposed to get like 40 something.
50s.
It was 40 they said on the news this morning. I'm not going out there if it's going to be 40 something. It's too cold for me. Have a great day, and I'll see you tomorrow. Hope you're all walking. Bye. Well, have a great night, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.